Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Now today we're working with another Heroes Arts product and we've got the bear hugs. This set has 13 cutting dies in it. I've worked with the small bears already on my channel, but we're going to be working with the big bear today. And we've got the bear background, the heart, and then the kind of the highlights to the ears and the hands and the feet. And we're not going to use the big background piece. We don't need it for this. We're going to use light purple for the bear. We're going to use white for the highlights to the bear and the eyes and the nose of the bear. And we're going to use darker purple for our heart that the bear hugs. Now the bear, his little paws lift up so that you can slide the little heart inside there. And so that's how this is designed. So I'm just going to bring in my little dark purple heart and just kind of slide it in there and get it where I want it just right off the bat so I don't forget what I'm doing. Last time I assembled it, I did it after the fact. So anyway, you can see the bear's arms will just nestle around this heart very nicely and just hug the heart. Super cute. Hence the name of the die, Bear Hugs. So I'm just taking my glue press and adding a little dot of glue to both the eyes and the nose. I've taken my white, and there's a single die that cuts out the eyes and the nose. And I'm going to find my pick tool and just bring it in and get it laid down. I left this in real time, so I made this in, I don't know, a little over, 16 minutes or so. Anyway, so I'm going to get these pieces turned around here and get them laid down on the eyes. I just spun them around so that I can get them laid down in the exact spot. I thought they kind of looked like they had a couple different shapes. Maybe they don't, but it seemed like I needed to get one in the right spot and then the other one in the other. So, and then the nose, just a cute little nose, and I'm just using the white for it, and we're going to get it laid down on there. And I think the white really pops off the purple and makes it look cute. Now I have cut all the highlights out as well. For these little paws, I've decided I'm going to bring in some foam squares and tuck them underneath the paws so that the paws look like they're raised over the heart, and it'll make it look really cute. So I'm digging for my foam squares right now, and I've just got these. I think these are 1 millimeter, so these aren't very dimensional, but they're just enough to make it look like his little arms are kind of reaching around the heart and gives it some fun dimension. So I'll just lift the one little paw up and just put the little piece in there, and then we'll add the second one to it. This is a pretty simple make. I think it comes together cute. It's really soft. These are colors I don't work with as often, I don't think. And I'm just going to lift the other little paw up, and we'll tuck this little foam square in there. And then we've got some good dimension. And it really is cute. I don't think you can probably see in the picture at the end, but I'm sitting here looking at it, and it's added a nice little dimension by raising those little paws up. So these little white pieces are the little, this is normally where you would take your white jelly roll pen and you would make like the little highlights on all the little areas. I've got the bigger piece here, and I'm going to use it on the legs, and then I'll use the smaller ones on the ears. But I'm just going to highlight up all the little paws, the little feet, and the little ears with these little white highlights, and it just adds just some additional interest to the bear and makes it look a little interesting. You can also use it on the heart, and I will bring one of the highlights in for the heart as well. And we're just going to get these laid down. And I've just got my little Pink Fresh Studio Gold tweezers so that I can hold them and get them positioned how I want them. I'm just trying to figure out which direction. You're going to have like a thin piece at the bottom on one side and then a thicker piece on the top side. That's just the way they are cut out. And I'm just going to put them on all of them. And like I said, I left this real time, so if it seems incredibly slow, it's because I have not sped it up. Most of the time for my videos, I will speed it up to 1.5 times so that it's not, completely slow and it moves a little bit quicker. But since this was only about 16 minutes, I thought, well, we can just leave this real time and just kind of let it run the course. So I was deciding, do I want it on the kind of the elbow or on the front part of it? I decided to just follow the edge there and just kind of continue like I did with the feet, I guess. And I also took the, I don't think I showed it, but I did take the Big Hugs die, and I used the hugs, and I used the dark purple and white. I did the dark purple for the shadow and then the white for the letters. And we're going to use it for our sentiment with our card. And that is it's called the Big Hugs cut. And there are 4 cutting dies because you have the word big and the word hugs. And you've got the shadow for both. I'm just choosing to use hugs with this because I'm going to add a little sub-sentiment that's in the set as well. So we're going to get the little highlights laid down on the ears. And then we'll get the other one laid down on there. And I think this is super cute. Now this could be used for, it could be used for a shower card for, could be either a boy or a girl or whatever. It could be a little birthday card or even a hug card for somebody that's feeling down. You could use it for a lot of different things. So here's one. I'm going to take the extra one that I've got there and I'm just going to put it on the heart. And we'll just add a little highlight to the heart. And this is a pretty big piece. I mean, the bear is about a little bit, looks like about 4.5, give or take a little bit. So it's, it's going to fill up a good amount of your A2 size card base. And so you don't really need a lot to go along with this. So I'm just going to lay my hugs letters down on my shadow there. And it's really nice because there's a nice little line there that kind of shows you where to line this up so that you kind of get just the perfect little shadow edge around it. So it's very nice. And I like the font. I think it's super fun. And I am still struggling with breathing and not coughing on the video, so I have to take some breaks and get some water. And we're going to get this laid down on here. It's coming together. Now we'll get our H laid down on here, and then we're going to get our sub-sentiment made. And then we will be ready to bring in our base layer for our card, our card base, and our home panel, I guess is what we're going to call it. And I'm just going to clean up any glue with my tweezers there, and I've got a really fun hugs sentiment. Super cute, especially since our little bear is hugging a little heart. Now I've got the stamp set here, and at first I didn't see the one that I wanted, and I'm like, is there another stamp set? Because I did have a couple of them with the hero hearts, but I want the big squishy. And I'm choosing the big squishy because my youngest daughter called my oldest daughter's son Squishy. That was her little nickname for him when he was a baby, was Squishy. And so I thought it'd be fun to use the big squishy. So I'm just going to use this light purple cardstock that I die cut our bear out in. And I've got just enough scrap for a little tiny sentiment. And I've got my new Misty that's black. This is the mini, super cute little tiny thing. And I'm going to lay my little sentiment down there, and it says big squishy. And I just need the tiniest little space. So this little scrap's going to work out just fine. And we'll get it stamped up. I'm going to try and get this scrap to lay there and not move around. And I'm just going to bring in my Memento black ink, and we'll just ink this up, stamp it a couple times. I've not used the stamp, so I'm going to have to use a couple of pressings to get it where I want it. And it's a little stiff because I haven't used it. And your other Misty's quite a bit heavier too, so when I go to lift it, I kind of lift the whole thing up, but it'll take a minute to get used to it. But I'm super excited because it's nice and clean and lovely, and my other one is pretty well loved. And I just felt like it was time to get a new one and have a clean Misty for my channel. So I'm going to grab some scissors. I'm going to do some cutting on here. We're going to trim this thing down. And we're just going to have a little tiny sub-sentiment to go with our hugs. We're going to have some big, squishy hugs is what we're going to have. So we'll get this cut down. And I'm using, these are my non-stick scissors, and they're really not the best for getting a straight cut on here. So I'll cut it down. Then I think I wind up grabbing my Tim Holtz scissors, which are the ones that if you want to do a cinnamon cutting trimming, that's the one that you should use. So I'm going to eyeball it, and I'll get to looking at it and realize that it doesn't look very straight, and then we'll give it another cut. So I've got all of my elements here. Here's where I'm going to grab it and grab those Tim Holtz scissors and just straighten it out. These things are fantastic for cutting a straight line. So there we go. We've got it. Now we've got all of our elements ready, and we're ready to bring in our home panel and get our card put together. So I've got a yellow card base. This was just some leftover cardstock from a card kit that I made into a card base. And I brought a 3 3/4 by 5 white hammer mill panel in. And I used that Posy and Dot embossing folder from Spellbinders and just embossed the polka dots on it. And I had these purple scraps laying. This is why we went with the whole color scheme that we did. I had these purple, these are from the trim, edge and trim border dies from Spellbinders. I love them. And I had die cut out a bunch of them, and I had these purple ones laying on my little credenza, and I saw them, and that is what prompted the purple color scheme, is these strips. I thought I want to use these, and I thought they would look pretty with the yellow, and then I thought the light purple would look good with it. And so this is how our color scheme come together. Sometimes you just have to take inspiration from some things that are just laying around the craft room that have been there for a minute and use them up. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm kind of using the dots to line these up a little bit. And I kind of left 2 rows of dots in between these strips. And I don't think they're perfectly straight, but I think it'll work out just fine. So we'll get the sticky scissors, and we're going to trim off what's hanging over the edge. And then this is going to be our home panel for our little bear. And I think I did get him a little bit narrower at the bottom than I did at the top, but the bear is going to cover up a good amount of it, and I don't think it's going to matter. It's just some extra detail for the card. So my panel is a little bit bowed, and I'm going to bring in some foam squares and use it. This panel was actually a piece that I had. It was a card base, and I had accidentally shut it in the drawer, and it was all bent up. And so I just cut it apart and cut it down, and then ran it with the embossing folder, and it kind of took care of the bent up part that it was, and I was able to wind up using it. So I was glad, because I'd messed up a card base and I didn't want to waste it. I could have easily die cut out of it, but I thought, hey, I think I can run it through an embossing folder and it'll take care of the little problem that I had with it, and it did. So I'm going to get these backer strips pulled off of this, and we're going to get this laid down on our card base, and we're going to put our card together. And I'm just going to stand up over it so I can see, and now I can clearly see that I didn't lay that down very straight, those strips. But it'll be all right. I love the polka dot. Isn't that cute? Super cute. All right, now we're going to just take our big squishy, and we're going to get it laid down on here. And I think it'll work out just fine with those, that trim on there. And it just adds a little extra color. We've got our dimension from our little foam squares where our little bear is holding the little heart in his arms. And I'm going to try to get some glue down on here, and this glue press is going to start clogging up on me again. And I'm going to get just enough out that I think I can get it laid down on there. And we'll give it a good press. Super cute. And you can see how big that is. I mean, that just fills up that panel very well. That panel's 3 3/4 by 5, so you can see how well. And I've got some black gems, and I'm just going to give the pupils to the eyes on the bear, and I'm kind of positioning in the lower inside just to kind of make it interesting looking eye. I don't know. I don't know if it looks crazy or not, but I thought I'd just put them there and just add a little dot to the eye. And then we've got our big squishy, and we've got our hugs, and I'm just going to get the big squishy part laid right down on my hugs, and I think it's going to be super cute. We're going to just lay it right across the G here. And so we'll get some glue going. And we're just going to lay it right across the G. and I think it looks nice. Use that lighter purple and then just stamped it with the black ink. And there we go. It's going to fit right there along the bottom. And it wasn't straight. I noticed it wasn't straight, so I wanted to straighten it up. And I'm having trouble with that glue press again. I'm going to have to grab the needle, clean it up, see if we can get some glue going. And there we go. It's, I don't know why it wasn't coming out, but it seems like I need to put the needle in as soon as I get done with it. All right, so I'm just going to lay my hugs down here, and I think it's cute. We've got some big, squishy hugs. Just give it a press, and that'll finish off our card. I think it's super cute. It's a fun little set. So I hope you liked it. If you did, consider giving us a like. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. And I've got some more videos that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.